Hi Pisces, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're sun, moon or rising signs, Pisces, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general reads. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, you've got the Judgment card. I am going to say that this week you are probably looking at that final blast from the past energy. Remember, when this card shows up, it's usually someone or something from our past that comes back up for assimilation. And when I say assimilation, it's very rare that people come back from our past for reconnection. Very often when this card shows up, it brings someone or something from your past so that you can assimilate the lessons that you learned from it into your current experience, rather than this person shows up and you reconnect with them and it's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to get back together. It's really not. Sometimes there can be a friendship that comes out of it. Sometimes there can be a new understanding or realization, but for the most part, it's really about laying something to rest. And because of that, it usually gives us a fresh or a new perspective, which is one of the reasons this card represents massive changes. It's very often like a shift in perspective or a profound shift in consciousness that takes place as a result of the assimilation. For those of you that are continued subbies, you know I love you for it. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your actions and options, you have the Emperor card. So this is in your actions energy, and you've got the Judgment card there. So the other thing that we talk about with the Judgment card is a call to action. And that Emperor card suggests that this is a week where you are putting foot to butt. This is where you are really stepping forward in a big way. It's going to see you being a lot louder, maybe commanding the lead in some way. Like this could be in your personal life, it could be with a job. There's something here that suggests you are taking the lead role. This is about you becoming the bellwether. In some way, you're stepping forward in order to command a space, or even just to command more respect. What this also suggests as well is you are taking a position or a stance of personal authority. You add to that then the Judgment card. This is a call to action that comes from within you. So this is a moment where you are actually choosing to step forward, or at least present yourself in some way that isn't, you know, the usual sort of Pisces trope. For your communications and conversations, you have the Nine of Swords. So you've got this with the Judgment card. Many of you are night owls anyway, but you add this to the Judgment card, and I'm going to say this could very well be a week where you are either finding it hard to sleep or you're finding it hard to convey the messages that you have. So if you find communication is a bit fraught or a bit terse this week, it's not because, you know, you're getting it wrong or anything like that. It's probably because the concepts of what you're trying to present to people is either really out there, it's either really novel, or it's not been done before. Remember, the Emperor card represents Aries, and Aries energy is always pioneering. It tends to represent things that are at the fore, that haven't been done before up until now. Certainly not by us anyway. Now, the other thing is, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, the Nine of Swords with the Judgment card is giving me very, very late night vibes, working on something behind the scenes, something that you've been working on for a long time. This may be your dissertation if you're in that sort of study. It might be a final exam. It's something like, because it's the Nine of Swords, which is a card of anxiety, it's like whatever you're working towards, there's this like, oh, you know, I'm doing this because I've got to do really well. That added pressure seems to be doing you a favor this week because you show up as the Emperor, which means that fire under your tushy is actually pushing you to do better. But I will say, remember the Nine of Swords, it's not an easy card and we can burn ourselves out with it sometimes. So just be mindful of that. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, Honestly, I think this is going to be a change to the duties that you are known for. So for some of you, it may be that there is a potential to step up the ladder. For others, it might be just that you're getting more responsibility. With the Emperor card here in the actions and options, this might also be that with more responsibility comes more power, but it's almost like you're looking at the paycheck and saying, well, I've got all of the other stuff, but where is the good bit? So just be mindful of that. When it comes to your, come on brain, those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves. What do the long-term plans actually look like to you? What does the big shift or the big change actually look like to you? Because for a lot of you, this is going to be you moving sort of out of that community kind of thing, you know, where you're working with several people, etc., and you're becoming the face of what you're doing, where you're stepping forward to say, no, I'm no longer presenting this or these people, I'm actually presenting myself. And I know for a fair few Pisceans, this is kind of the shape of it at the moment. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, I would say this is, if you're retired and you're not working, this is probably a week where you are, especially with the Emperor, it's like you're stressing over what can't be controlled, which for a Pisces is very, very rare. You know, you guys usually are kind of like, meh, you know, it is what it is. You'll go with the flow. I freak out. I'm not one of those people. I don't. I'm very, very solutions based. Like if I get met with a problem, I will bulldoze my way through it. And sometimes that's not the best approach, I realize. But yeah, with this Nine of Swords, I almost feel like a lot of you are kind of like, okay, well, I'm bothered. And maybe it's the fact that you're bothered that's actually bothering you rather than the fact that, you know, the issue has arisen. For your love and relations, you have the Two of Cups. This is great. Especially for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, especially because you've got the Emperor card. This is a recommitment to the relationship, and with the Judgment card, this is a recognition that something about the partnership has to change, but you are wanting to keep the partnership or keep the relationship alive. So that's great because it suggests that there is there's change here. You might not necessarily have the words to implement that or what it looks like at this moment in time, but you're definitely doing, all the right pieces are there. Now it's just a case of putting them into the right sequence. For those of you that are single, honestly, I think it's your turn to make a move. Usually Pisces will wait and, you know, they'll just, but this is a week to be a bit more. This is a week to be more, assertive. It's a week for you to really get after it rather than waiting for it to come. And then you've got the Seven of Cups for your money and materials. So as I said to you, it's like with the job, at least, you're getting more responsibility and you're getting more to do, and you know, people are leaning on you more and they're wanting to see you do more, but it's like the goods or the finances for that has not really shown up as yet. The Seven of Cups as well, when it comes to your finances, this would be a really good week to be very considerate about what you are spending your money on and how many avenues that money is kind of filtering out into. So this is a really good week actually to streamline your finances and to think about where you're putting your resources, because at the moment it looks like that might be causing a bit of a worry. When it comes to your home and environment, the Seven of Cups, it's a good week for things like decorating. It's a good week for changing the aesthetic of what you know, of the place that you live in. But with the Seven of Cups, I'm not entirely sure this is stable for the home this week. So just be mindful of that. And then when it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Seven of Cups, it's really strange. Like the reproductive system has come up a lot this week, which makes me wonder, because remember Pisces is the 12th sign, so it's the collective consciousness. What I wonder here then is if we're going to see a development on the wider world stage that talks about all of the, you know, Wade v. Roe crap and all of that stuff. Like, personally, I don't think we should be telling anybody what they should and shouldn't be doing with their bodies, but that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, so I wonder if it's something to do with that, and obviously if it's coming through in the money and the materials, you know, women make up 50% of the population of the planet ultimately. So, you know, the fact that it's coming up across multiple signs, that the reproductive system is coming up across multiple signs, really speaks to me. Remember, I do 12 of these a week. On top of that, I do the monthlies, and then obviously I do the year ahead videos, plus I'll do like the astrology and stuff. So I get a very good overview. I get a very good bird's eye view of what's taking shape on the ground. And so therefore, I'm privy to a lot of the trends and themes and energies that will come up. So I'm intrigued by this to see how it shows up on the wider world stage, because sometimes that's what tarot is talking about. Sometimes it's microcosmic stuff, that's for us on the personal, and sometimes it's macrocosmic stuff on the wider world stage. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a great week. Take care, and I will see you soon.